Welcome to Real Flix Reviews, or like a book club for people who hate reading. This month we're doing grab bags, so Ryan picked the movie A Scanner Darkly. We bring you movie news, and this week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, and Ryan Preston. So as we said in the opening, we're doing the cel-shaded acid flashback of Scanner Darkly, and this is what it's about. An undercover cop is in a not-too-distant future becomes involved with a dangerous new drug and begins to lose his own identity as a result.
Identity.
Close enough. I gotta say, I haven't seen so much shell shading and rotoscoping since the Lord of the Rings cartoon.
Can you say that again?
No.
Two times fast?
No, I could barely say it once.
It was definitely trying to bring back a lost art. Richard Linklater kind of became famous for Waking Life, which he did just like a few years before that, or maybe late '90s. But that the whole pastel color thing, rotoscoped over the actual filming thing, is a really unique style.
Is this actually rotoscoped or more cell shading?
It's rotoscoped.
Is it actually?
Yeah. There's an interesting thing about this. Sorry to cut you off, John.
I do it enough.
Check yourself.
Because there's a theory, or not a theory. There's a thing called the uncanny valley when it comes to animation or CGI. Basically explaining that no matter how real the CGI looks, the human brain still senses something wrong about it. Yeah. You know. So they're always kind of constantly working towards that uncanny valley. See if you can cross the valley. This does it in a kind of magic tricky sort of way, because your brain registers the realness of the people's movements, of the way the lips move, or just really body language in general. It really strikes as true, but then it really trips you out with the background sort of vertigo effects and those types of things that are all done in animation, or the bugs, or all the hallucinations, and it really makes you feel like you're on drugs because you're sort of seeing something that's real morph in front of you.
Because this movie's trippy enough to be on like one of the heavy metal cartoons.
Yeah.
And so the question, how was this made? Was this filmed in a real set, or was this filmed like on green screen?
It was filmed in 28 days, and then they spent like what was it, 18 months in the post production.
I think so. One of the things I was going to point out is, yes, it was filmed live film, and then they did rotoscope over it, like as Ryan was saying. And one of the things that they find interesting about that is Robert Downey Jr. wrote all of his lines on Post-it notes.
Yeah,
and stuck them all over the sets so that you could just look at it and know what his lines were. And they actually got rid of all the Post-it notes during the rotoscoping. They rotoscoped over it to hide it.
So all the sets
that's kind of funny for an actor to do.
So all the sets were real, and then they just rotoscoped over the sets.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, they scouted the house for a really long time. Found the perfect one for Archer's house. Was that his name? I totally forgot his name.
Bob
Right.
Archer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I love the fact that the difference between James Barris, Robert Downey Jr.'s character, and Tony Stark is just a couple of $1 billion.
Yes, actually,
and they actually showed him with a substance abuse problem, at least in this one.
Well, one of the things I wrote down in watching the movie is, this is actually totally typecasting for Robert Downey Jr. And Woody Harrelson. All they really had to do to make this movie a full-on just wraparound is to change out Rory Cochrane, who played the Charles Fleck guy, the guy with the bugs all over him. Switch that guy out with Charlie Sheen, and it would be a perfect typecasting.
I mean, Woody Harrelson.
Forget about that. This is the reason that we all kind of fell in love with Robert Downey Jr. You know what I mean?
Yes,
this really
character,
like maniac kind of performance. That's like the fast talking, really sharp-witted and stuff. I mean, this is what we liked about him in the beginning, and him on drugs, by the way.
Yeah. And he, and Woody Harrelson, I mean, I don't think all of his movies are strange. I mean, from Natural Born Killers to his role on Cheers, I mean, I don't think he's had a straight character since he started acting.
Yeah, he's definitely had his pick. What was he starting out with? The kind of he started when he was pretty young, but was it Natural Born Killers? I think was kind of people's real introduction to him as the Australian film guy.
Because
I actually knew him before then, but yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Because Natural Born Killers. I mean, you get to realize that there's something not quite right about this guy, and you're proven right every time you see him in any movie he's ever done. Like, there's something wrong with this guy. Then you see him on the news, and then you realize there's something not right with the guy.
Yeah. I like Woody Harrelson though. He's actually one of my favorite not well-known actors.
I actually like him, Winona Ryder, Robert Downey Jr. because
I'm not a fan of Ryder. I don't know why. I've never been a fan.
I like the characters because they all play people who are unhinged. And they do it very well.
Yeah, they always play a role where something's wrong with that person.
Like the chick from when she played in Beetlejuice, obviously something weird.
I gotta say, I actually enjoyed the fact that Keanu Reeves played this one more like his Speed character, the character he played from Speed, rather than the character he played from Bill and Ted. Because he could have gone both ways with it.
I would say it was a little bit of both, actually.
Actually, no, I wouldn't say that it was that. It was a mix of him as Neo and Speed. He really didn't play the druggy kind of guy at all in this one.
I think towards the end,
but it seemed like he was trying to play a guy playing a druggie. You know, like a couple of layers deep on
his role actually was supposed to be.
Yeah,
but it really is, 50 Shades of the same friggin' face, man, with Keanu Reeves.
I mean, because we both know he's
the concept of the suits that they were wearing. I thought that was always a pretty cool concept.
I always thought it was funny that they would switch to a woman's character for a second and then go to a bunch of men when obviously you could tell by the build of the person what it is.
Yeah, but I think it was a cool little concept to really hide an identity perfectly.
No, I thought it was great. But I was gonna say we all know Keanu Reeves is one line away from going, whoa.
Well, that's
I mean, come on.
Every movie he's ever done.
Oh, I did like him. Was it John Wick?
Oh yeah.
I actually thought he played that pretty well. It was Bill S. Preston as a murderer, but still pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I actually really liked this movie. I actually liked the concept of the drug, and it had. I thought it played pretty well because it kind of reminded me of, like the 80s, 70s when the CIA was selling drugs and it had that kind of vibe to it.
I liked their approach to the war on drugs when he's standing before everybody in the Black Bear conference or whatever that they were having there, where he came up and was talking to the investors and he was saying, we can't attack the drug manufacturers. That's just not going to happen because you have to attack the drug demand. And his addressing on that, because that's how you win the war on drugs. You're never going to win the war on drugs when there's a demand for it.
By the way, I love...
You legalize it, and then you make everybody go to rehab.
By the way, I love that line. This is the type of shit that gets people on drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of terrific lines in this thing, like the Frank when he's scratching himself in the park in the driveway, and he's like, I have to get out of here. It's unsafe.
Yeah.
Just little things like that, which is so perfect.
Well, the movie was definitely put together by people who know drugs and know people on drugs, because you're watching it, and I have a drug background. I did drugs for a while. And there are tweakers that are exactly like these people.
See, that's what this reminded of. Was the whole. This was like an allegory for methamphetamine for me, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I know tweakers and I hate tweakers. Yeah. But
oh no, there goes maybe one of our audience members.
Yeah, probably the one staying up late night going on some weird YouTube rabbit hole.
Oh, by the way, and they're probably the same bastards who are commenting who say, like idiots on our Das Boat episode.
Yeah,
like I say,
we're not. You have the big pen.
They're not wrong. But I was going to mention to James, like, I found something out when I was looking into this thing. All of my research before these shows are done like a friggin' hour and a half before.
Yeah, we can tell.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, I know, right?
10 minutes. People.
Hour and a half. He watches the movies on like fast forward. We're surprised you're able to catch the lines.
Everybody sounds like chipmunks, though. It's really awesome.
And he has the
hardcore movie so adorable.
And he has that Benny Hill music playing in the background.
Yeah, really. Well, anything's good to yakety sax. But my point was going to be, well, not my point. I was just going to mention that I didn't know this was based on a book.
Yeah.
It was based on
Philip K. Dick.
Author's drug experiences.
Yep.
That was actually the one thing I wanted to look into. So.
Well, it totally made me want to read this guy's book because he obviously knows what the hell he's writing about.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
If it's based on his drug experiences, you better know what the hell he's talking about. He went through it.
So I have a question. Did Freck actually die?
No.
Because I love that whole random scene,
Yeah.
the whole scene that honestly didn't really have a point in the movie, but it's like my favorite scene with that guy with that like 1,000 eyeballs who's reading all his sins, and he's just sitting back going, "Glad I got some good wine."
No, I don't think he actually died. Do you think he died, Ryan?
I don't think so.
I think it was just an OD and a hallucination. That was it.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think he died. My favorite one was when he gets pulled over by the cop.
Oh
And the
yes,
cop takes him out and he starts reading him his rights. He just goes, you know what? Fuck this. Bam!
Yeah, you have the right to remain.
remain
Can you say can? Shit. Yeah, that was great.
I love
Awesome. And then the expression on his
Yes.
face. The expressions of Frick's character was amazing, I gotta say.
Yeah, really.
That
Even
was
rotoscoped or not, like
Yeah.
the characters and the actors turned in pretty terrific performances.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
for
love
the-
Freck's face after that was perfect because he had that whoa, you know.
It's like, oh shit. I'm okay.
Yeah, hands down, my favorite scene was the homemade silencer, though.
Oh, you mean the Loudner?
That was great. Because all of them, Woody Harrelson up in the tree, and oh man, I love Robert Downey Jr. when he's just on a ramble like that.
Oh yeah.
I gotta admit that the funniest part about that whole scene, because it's like half the people I grew up with, you know, all of it. It's like Dennis Leary that said the reason he stopped smoking weed is he was tired of building shit. And so that's what that the whole scene reminded me of. It's like, man, I almost got it, man. I know I almost got it.
No, I just like their whole paranoia scene on the side of the freeway with the car.
Oh man, that was great.
And people out there that watch the movie, don't turn your car off. Put it in neutral, slow down, then turn your car off.
Right.
Well, that
Otherwise,
was-
the steering wheel locks up.
Well, he could. They
I
could,
learned that the hard way driving down a mountain.
the problem is he couldn't actually slow down though.
You
Nothing
pop
was
it in
working.
the neutral and let the speed of the car stop because the engine's not going to be pumping.
I thought didn't he try to shift it and it didn't work?
No, he was trying to pump the gas
Oh, that's
and then tried to
right.
pump at the brakes and nothing was working. And then I think it was Woody Harrelson reached over and turned the car off.
Right.
I gotta say this movie would just be absolutely horrible if it wasn't for the rotoscoping, and I'm generally not a big fan of rotoscoping in general because
He was complaining about this movie pick.
I
last
was.
week.
I was, is because it was one of these movies like I don't want to see this again.
You said you never finished it.
I didn't. I couldn't get through it.
Well, you did this time.
I did.
I wasn't necessarily almost looking forward to it again. I mean, I just got off like a crazy long day, and James was like, "Scanner Darkly," and I'm like, "Yeah, sounds perfect. That sounds like something I would have come across and been like, yeah, totally watching that." And then as I started kind of thinking about it, coming up to watching it, I was like, I don't know how much I really want to get into this movie. And I actually started enjoying it the more I kept watching it. And yeah, no, the rotoscoping I think helped tell the story, even though in parts it was annoying. Especially at the beginning.
I'll be honest. I actually didn't think it was annoying because generally rotoscoping drives me nuts. Especially in certain circumstances. This actually didn't bother me because at least it was actually adding to the story. It wasn't rotoscoping to
That's
rotoscope.
the thing, though. It didn't bother me as it went on. It was really in the beginning, like this adjustment period. What am I exactly witnessing here? And then once the plot devices start developing with the animation, the bugs crawling across Freck or the social kind of hallucinations and stuff, or when he's walking around his house and it's kind of morphing around him, those things, it was like, oh, okay, I'm in the middle of a drug trip here.
Yes, and that's actually what I was going to mention is I think the thing that the rotoscoping does that would not have been able to accomplish if they hadn't rotoscoped it is the drug feel. It puts you in a state of the surrealism of a drug state.
Oh yeah,
Does that make sense to you guys?
Because in this movie, the rotoscoping or what I said earlier, cell shading,
Try.
right? It's another character. It's
Cell shading.
what he said. It's a character in it.
Yes.
And it totally enhances the feel. I got to say, did anybody notice the one random episode in a movie full of random episodes was the Totalian state part when the guy was yelling, "Don't do this" or "Don't do that," and these guys in suits take him away.
Yeah.
It was like, it's like, this movie's full of random scenes, and that's the most random scene out of the entire movie.
But what it does is it shows you the side and how much control the government had stepped in into their lives.
Yeah.
Because the characters that we were introduced were not living the life that everybody else was. They were living outside of that life.
Oh yeah, it's Ronald Reagan's war on drugs, like, to the extreme.
Yeah.
Ah, you bastard.
Well, you just blame him and Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah.
So, I really enjoyed this movie. But, honestly, I can't go over 3 to give it. I really can't. I mean, I think there's a lot of great things in it. If there's somebody out there who has experiences in that type of life and got away from it, I think this movie would be great. They would understand a lot more. But if you take somebody who is pretty much, innocent in all their ways, and you bring them to this movie, they're like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, you're right. It's really not the everyman kind of movie. This is pretty specific audience.
So I actually kind of give it a 3.5 out of 5, because to me, as a guy who had a lot of friends on drugs, this is why I thought it was funny. I was the guy watching everybody. So this movie was hilarious.
As a voyeur.
Right.
Somebody that's watches.
Why do drugs when you can watch other people make a fool out of themselves, honestly?
But it does play a lot of inside baseball with the types of discussions that they're having. It would just seem asinine to really anybody outside of it. Dude,
I've sat in rooms where they're like, who did this? Who did this? Oh my God, somebody snuck in here and did this shit.
Yeah.
We're going to have to set up a trap in the house. Like, I've literally sat and had that conversation with people where they're booby trapping their house.
Too bad he was by himself in a closet.
Yeah. No, I've had my fair share of Illuminati conversations for sure.
So
Jesus.
That while eating Hot Pockets. So what did you give this movie, Ryan?
I gotta go with 3.5 out of 5 also. Even if it was sort of on an accident, the way that they kind of mixed that realism with the actors and then the surrealism with the setting and the rotoscoping and the colors. Even if that was on accident, that sort of mix of those two worlds, I mean, it still worked perfectly, and it gave the most perfect reason to do that rotoscoping.
See, I would like to believe they didn't do that on accident, just because the way the movie turns out, I don't know. I think you'd have to have some forethought.
Well, he did the same thing with Waking Life, a few years earlier with the same kind of thing, and it didn't have that same sort of allegory to the drug trip that you were on with this,
Well, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And so now we're going to shift off to our TV pilot and handing it over to James.
This one was Quantico. Pull it up. Really? So I wasn't the only one, I guess. This one is a look at the lives of young FBI recruits training at the Quantico base in Virginia when one of them is suspected of being a sleeper terrorist.
So can I go first, please?
Oh, I just want to make one point. I predicted the Mormon guy was going to die.
You always blame the guy. First of all, this movie starts out, this TV show, whatever the fuck it is. It starts out showing how amazing this girl is.
Cell shading.
Your mom.
Cell shading.
Yeah, cell shading. It starts off, trying to show, how special this girl is. Like she's some CSA, NSA, or whatever agent. And, because
You mean the whore?
The chick they show in the intro.
The whore?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, and then it gets worse. This is the first TV show I've seen in a while that actually gets worse the more it gets on. Like, the first 30 seconds, okay, this is going to be good. And then they show the Academy. Then I was like, damn. Because it got stupid. Like, not just stupid. I mean, it got campy and went downhill.
Now, I got to point out one thing, okay? Now
Andy Dick could have done a better job.
I mentioned the Mormon guy. Now, I got a question. Now, how did the actual FBI and CIA and federal background checks on this guy not pull up the fact that he raped or was allegedly raped a minor in Mexico who died?
Now, this was Was it Mexico?
It was
or?
a mission trip that he was on.
No, you sure? Because I
He
thought
was
it
on
was.
a Mormon mission trip, is what she said.
No,
And
but I don't think it was Mexico though. I think it was
you're probably right.
I thought it was
Mexico.
I thought it was like the Philippines or one of
something
those
like
countries.
that. It wasn't in the States. Anyways, but a trainee was able to pull that up in a day.
He didn't actually know anything.
Yes, but that caused them to look even deeper.
Oh, yeah,
Now,
yeah.
why would you not look deeper to begin with if you're going to train this person?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, I had a.
How about the fact
I'm
he was?
just pointing that
How
out.
about the fact he was dating the deputy director of the Quantico Academy, and then nobody said anything? Like her people above her go,
I don't know. My other thing was in the intro when they're talking to them and introducing them to Quantico, and they start out, this is the hardest boot camp that you're ever going to be in. I call BS.
Yeah, for sure.
First of all, you have these huge ass rooms, and then on top of that,
luxury
you have,
suites.
Yeah, luxury suites with showers, electricity,
Yeah. The amenities were pretty dope.
toilets, everything, and not only that, but they also accommodated for personal beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
How is that the hardest boot camp? You're full of
Yeah,
shit.
for sure.
Go to the seals.
Yeah, there was a lot of those little things.
Become a frogman.
The whole plot
Reddit.
though started to kind of get bogged down in a little bit of like, we're just gonna keep whipping this intrigue at you and building it the more it goes on. And they did this foreshadowing thing in the beginning with the Muslim chick grabbing the car keys out of the dead drop spot in the back of the toilet. And it, I don't know. I mean, with all the little twists and turns it was taking, it's like they're setting up to drag this out and not tell sort of the larger story.
Yeah.
There was no intrigue in this TV show. It was more like, okay, what the fuck?
But what I meant by that was like those little twists where it's like, oh, now you think it's this person, and now you're gonna think it's this person, but we're gonna show you it's this person, but make you think. So it's like, okay, either make it subtle and leave clues, or this bullshit like fake foreshadowing thing that goes on a lot of the time. It just gets annoying and starts calling us stupid. Like, oh, you thought it was that, huh? Yes, because you showed us clues.
I was kind of wondering if this was going to be like a lame version of Homeland. You know.
Well, what do you expect from ABC though?
And see, that's always kind of my fear. Is
the House of Mouse.
Well, they're always trying to find the next thing that's gonna last as long as Friends or last as long as Seinfeld, something they could really dig into for a decade, you know.
Can we just watch
where
reruns
it's stuff
of
like
Seinfeld?
Breaking Bad or Sopranos? It's like, listen, right at the beginning, we only need 5 seasons.
I'd rather watch Seinfeld than this.
Oh, for sure, Seinfeld was at least funny. I mean, this had a couple of good moments, a couple of good character development things, but then just started to get sort of bogged down.
And then you had like the human lie detector. No, I don't need this.
Oh, yeah.
What? Oh, give me. So it just, the whole thing was freaking stupid. I mean, the show, in my opinion, wasn't entertaining. It was drawn out, and the characters were so thin you could practically see through the plot
characters
holes.
were actually overplayed.
Way overplayed, especially the Mormon guy.
Yeah. Well, at least he didn't last long.
True.
Yeah, it's really making you sort of play on the stereotype or the archetypes of these people. You know what I mean? Like, this is the Mormon guy, this is the Muslim chick, this is the Indian girl.
This
it's
is
like
the gay guy.
People. You have your tokens throughout the whole thing. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Why would you have?
So, just to let you know, we do have a Facebook page. You love us, hate us. We'll read you on air if you're creative, funny, or do something besides call us idiots. That's not gonna.
Which I will defend their opinion. I keep saying it. They're not wrong.
No.
I'm not disagreeing, but fucking be creative.
You're all wrong.
I'm not disagreeing, but it still hurts.
I'm right. You're wrong. All of you.
Hey,
Every
we're
last one. You too.
we're the one with the show. If you get all the equipment, you can have a show too, and you could be right. But since you don't, well, you're wrong. And I jumped the gun a little early. Anybody know what TV show we're gonna do?
You know what? Okay, I found one. And I'm picking this for a couple of reasons. It's called The Last Kingdom. Okay. It's.
I'm sorry. Did you hear James's sigh?
I did hear James sigh, and I'm wondering if he has something to say before I go on.
Go on.
Just go
Okay.
on.
Well,
We'll listen to it
look,
tomorrow, next
I'm
week.
trying to pick something that's in its first season, episodes, somewhere around episode 3 or 4, that hasn't really, beaten its own path in anything yet. This is made by BBC America. They've been pretty damn good in the past. I'm a big friggin' Doctor Who fan. I even liked the Robin Hood series. Sherlock is freaking amazing.
But that was actually BBC though. That wasn't BBC America though, was it?
Okay, BBC for Robin Hood, but not for Sherlock and for Doctor Who.
Really? That's that. Oh.
Yeah, that was BBC America for both those. But so this one is another BBC America one. They have good sensibilities when it comes to writing.
So what it's about? What is it?
And this is okay. I'll read the situation here. The Last Kingdom is a contemporary story of redemption, vengeance, and self-discovery set against the birth of England, adapted from Bernard Cornwell's best-selling series of books, The Saxon Stories.
Oh, so it's another bastard executioner.
No, it's
I hope it's a redemption of the bastard executioner. The 8-part drama series combines real historical figures and events with fiction, retelling the history of King Alfred the Great and his desire to unite the many separate kings.
So it's like was it Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
Probably a little bit of revisionist history about sort of the birth of what would become England from all these sort of warring factions.
So now we're gonna switch to movie news. So does anybody have any movie news?
Okay, yeah, to sort of continue on my own little rants here. I got a couple of things that I just need your opinion on.
Okay, well, okay.
One of them, Godzilla vs. King Kong announced.
Which version of Godzilla?
The newest one with Bryan Cranston, who they decided to kill in like a half an hour of that movie, which I never understood.
What version of
King Kong?
King Kong?
I'm assuming Peter Jackson.
The Jack Black one?
That would have to, because that's the newest one. That was Peter Jackson's baby.
I mean, or just reboot the whole kind of situation.
They should reboot it. Start from a clean slate.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like they're doing with the second Superman one. They're bringing Batman in on that one as a new situation, not as
Batman and Superman caused the end of the world.
Yeah.
I would.
If you don't know what I'm referencing, go watch Legend.
I would be.
I am Legend.
I would be down with this. It doesn't sound awful.
I would check it out. I'd at least see a preview before I watched it, though.
Mark calling Orson. Mark calling Orson.
No, can you guys hear that clatter?
No.
Coming from my mic? Okay. Because I was trying to figure out what it was, and all of a sudden it's pissing rain. Just out of nowhere. Anyway.
Sorry, this is Northern California. We don't get rain.
Well, shoot, this is Southern California. I'm pretty sure people are dancing in the streets right now.
Oh, no, the smell.
Okay,
oh my God, yeah, the hot pavement when it rains. God, it's terrible. But, okay, so what do you think? Are we excited for Godzilla versus King Kong again?
We're back to the fact that Hollywood has nothing original.
Well, sure, but I mean, okay, here's my question then. Is this one of those movies that we could definitely tolerate every decade or so?
No, not every decade.
I love monster movies, so I'd totally be willing to...
Every half millennium.
I'd be willing... I'll watch it. I couldn't guarantee that I would see it in theaters. I mean, I'm kind of a sucker for Tremors, so I'm really excited to see the 5th one, so I'll watch it. Will it be as bad or as campy as, like, Godzilla vs. Mothra and etc.?
Well, see, that's the thing, though. I mean, these are those tentpole movies, and I think, this is one of those ones that we're sort of regardless of how good it is. If it's camp, then it's great. If it's actually good, then it's good. But it's still going to be this epic scale, big, huge, let's watch monsters fight things, and hopefully it's not as bad as Pacific Rim.
Because I actually like Pacific Rim. It took me a
while.
while.
Anime fan.
Yeah, that helps. The other fact is,
much.
I really liked Godzilla. I mean, I liked the way they played it off. It wasn't like Godzilla 2000 where it was in every scene. At least in this Godzilla, it was more. There was more mystique to the character, and only was really in the last 13 episodes.
You got to see a good fight scene. You know what I mean? The 2000 one, was it Matthew Broderick that was in that?
Yeah, and you had the asexual Godzilla who popped out.
The first 70 minutes of that movie was like the only thing you see is like the tail going behind the building. It was I hate when they build monster movies to the end. It's like, no, I want to see these things kick ass for 90 minutes.
Yeah, I want to see it right out of the bat blow some crap
See,
up.
that's why I like the new Godzilla movie, because it at least build up the character without having to have flashbacks of it. I mean, the way they did it, I thought they handled it better.
Yeah, well, aside from them killing Bryan Cranston, it's like...
Well, yeah, no, you need the
best
paranoid.
actor.
You need the paranoid guy.
So anyway, the other thing that I was going to bring up was, now this is definitely one that I'm not going to go pay money to see in the theater. They want to do Die Hard 6, man.
Yeah, I knew about that.
So what's Die Hard 6 supposed to be about? Because he's already out of the country. The last one was in Russia.
This is
harder and worse.
The plot device that I saw, and God willing this changes, because hopefully somebody doesn't do this. But it's like they're really just trying to give Bruce Willis work doing another Die Hard franchise.
Please be a fridge. Please be a refrigerator in here somewhere.
Well, like Indiana Jones?
Yeah, there's got to be something.
Not Harrison Ford, and they're doing another Indiana Jones with Harrison Ford.
But okay, see, and I'm gonna hopefully they're not making this same mistake. But they're gonna do sort of a prequel sequel, like it's a sequel where he's John McClane, Bruce Willis, John McClane running around doing whatever the hell he's doing, mixed with this like flashback where he's a beat cop in New York when he's real young.
If they do it right, it could be like the young Indiana Jones, where you had a retired John McClane telling stories. Might be interesting if they do it right, but it is Hollywood, so it's probably going to suck out loud. But at least it's an interesting idea that's been done 1,000 times.
Who's going to play the young him? Is it going to be Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Yeah, that'd be a good choice, actually, because he kind of nailed it in Looper.
Yeah, so, I mean, is that who's going to be playing the beat cop?
But still,
I'd
I mean, it really seems like he called his agent, was like, I need to do another Die Hard movie, and a team of writers worked as hard as they could to figure out how the hell that would be possible.
So if they do it like the young Indiana Jones type of thing, like you're saying, do you think it would be any good? Like you had a retired John McClane, type of thing? And
I don't know. I mean, it depends on how much of an impression that somebody's doing of Bruce Willis, or if it really is just like, let's throw together an action movie like they did for the last one. I was even kind of a Live Free or Die Hard. I mean, that wasn't so terrible. It was still kind of just a sort of a mindless action movie.
The biggest problem with that is it was PG-13. You cut down half the good stuff about those movies.
Seriously.
And
you can only say yippee-ki-yay once.
Yeah, and everybody was waiting for that scene, and to me, while I liked it, it was just kind of... Really, this whole movie, the one F word you can say was right there.
Yeah,
not when the fact he jumped on the fucking plane. Nothing else. None of this crazy shit he did. But the other, I liked the movie, but that was like, you got to be kidding me. I was actually livid. I hate when they
really honestly, the Die Hard franchise for me has always been kind of hit or miss. I love the first one. The second one, I can't like that movie.
See, the second one was funny.
But I don't like that movie. It wasn't very good.
I'll be honest, I feel the same way about the Lethal Weapons movie. The only really good the first one is the best one, and the third one is hilarious because it's like Lethal Weapon meets Keystone Cops.
Yeah, fourth one was good just because of Chris Rock.
And Joe Pesci.
It's pretty funny in that.
So, but before we announce what we're doing next, do you have any more movie news, James? Because I know you were sighing over there, waiting to.
Well, okay. I want to see if you guys can pick up on what they're rebooting for 2016.
Showgirls?
No, this is a reboot. I want to see if you guys pick it out. A pair of FBI agents investigate the strange and unexplained.
X-Files.
Yep. They're
coming back for six episodes, man.
Yeah. What is this? Like the Twilight years of X-Files?
Depending how they do it, it may be interesting.
Can I actually explain to you how this happened?
Yes, we're kind of running out of time, but sure.
Really quickly, this was one of this is the beautiful thing about social media. I hate Facebook. I'm not a big fan of Twitter and any of that kind of stuff, but this is what it's good for. The Nerdist podcast by Chris Hardwick, who's got pretty much the whole Nerdist empire under his thumb. He basically kind of became the authority on nerds and pop culture and whatnot.
He's the Grandmaster Wizard.
Had what's her name?
Does he wear the hood?
Gillian
Anderson.
I forget her name.
Gillian Anderson.
She was on the island with Gilligan.
Gillian
Anderson.
Help me out here, guys. Anytime.
He
Am
just
I muted?
did. He just did.
Like 4 times.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Gillian Anderson.
Anderson. God damn it.
God, how many times am I
Terrible.
going to say it?
Sorry.
That was a 3-hour
Anyway.
tour.
Anyway, he had her on his podcast and started talking about like, oh, that'd be great if you guys did a new X-Files thing. And she's like, I'm down to do it. And he's like, oh, that's terrific. All we got to do is get David Duchovny. She's like, I could talk him into that.
You just have to get him out of Californication or wherever the fuck.
Oh, he's been out of that for
And then
2
they
years?
got
Oh, really?
basically the entire Twitter universe, anybody who listened within the sound of his voice, to just bombard Fox to make a new series, which they listened to, got in touch with, some original writers and whatnot, and they all said,
So
yeah, let's do it.
before we call it an end, I haven't seen X-Files the movie 2. Did any of you see it, and was it any good?
No.
Didn't see it. I was
but-
a little bit young to get into
but-
the X-Files.
I didn't like the
But hold
TV
on.
show, but I actually loved the movie, the first one.
movie was great. And then you had to actually know and have seen all the episodes to understand the second one.
Okay.
If you haven't seen the episodes, then you won't understand what's going on in the second one.
So it was more like a
So-
farewell salute type of
Yes.
thing, like the ultimate inside baseball movie.
Yeah, it was pretty much them saying this is the wrap up. That's why I'm saying
Okay.
doing more.
Yeah.
Is this the
Well,
Twilight?
hey, they want to bring back Firefly
Yes, I do
I
want
would
that to
I
happen.
would be down with that.
even after the movie.
Yeah. I'm
Actually,
still
I
down
think
with that.
after the movie it would be better because
Yeah.
you just get a lot more creative.
I mean, because he even says in the movie that they're going to have more guys coming after him. So yeah.
And so next week is our theater pick, and we're doing the Martian movie with Matt Damon. So it's another case of the
We're
United
gonna
States
have to
government.
put a homing beacon on you, Matt.
We spent more
I
money
I
trying.
love that meme. I swear that's my favorite thing I've seen the last
We-
few weeks.
And you guys all stepped over my line. It was to say United States has spent more money saving his ass. And next week after, and we're also doing what was the TV show?
Last Kingdom.
Last Kingdom.
DC America. Yeah.
So James says it's Game of Thrones meets the Bastard Executioner.
Yeah, hopefully better writing.
Hopefully with a little bit of Archer
I
thrown
don't
in.
know. George Martin does a pretty good job.
And so I gave the Scanner Darkly a 3.5 out of 5. James gave it a 3 out of 5. Ryan gave it a 3.5 out of 5.
It's a German
Next week
3.
is The Martian and The Last Kingdom. And as always, see you next week.
Goodbye.
Thank you.